Hi, this is Asa, and welcome to my audio experience. It's a new prescription for a new you, America. What are you struggling with? Well, whatever it is, diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, fibromyalgia, whatever it is, great or small, know this, that the body can change. That means if you can change, make some right decisions in your life about your health, and maybe take some new little steps that you've never taken before, you'll look back months from now and you can see a huge harvest that will change in your life. And that's what's great about our health, is that just because you've been living a certain way for a certain period of time doesn't mean you have to stay that way. Things can change. Life can change. And that is a powerful tool that we have, the power to choose every single day. Minneapolis-St. Paul nabs the fittest city title. The news said Minneapolis-St. Paul has plenty of parks and recreational facilities, an increasing number of farmers markets, and low smoking rates. And those attributes helped the Twin Cities to garner the #1 spot in the American College of Sports Medicine's 2011 list of America's fittest cities. Pretty cool. Washington, D.C., which was claimed the top spot for the past 3 years, dropped to #2, in part because the Twin Cities recorded greater improvements in healthy behavior measures and a reduction in the percentage of cigarette smokers. See, cigarette smoking plays a big role in all these tallies. And other positive factors included that an above-average percentage of residents who exercise. When you go to Colorado, which is also always in the top 5 as far as states that are healthy, I think it got named the healthiest state, or it's in the top 5. But, yeah, you go there, you do not see a lot of people in certain areas that are out of shape because of the outdoor activity. And people are outdoors, and they're active, and they're involved in exercise, and they're taking care of themselves. Just a healthy culture and a healthy lifestyle. And I'm hoping that sort of thing, that's why I'm so passionate about this radio show, is that message will spread, and people will be motivated to take care of themselves so they'll be healthy, to be around for their families and their loved ones, and to be able to do the things that they want to do for as long as they want to do it, so that when you get into your 60s and 70s and 80s, those aren't your rough years. Those are your great years to really enjoy your life and continue enjoying the fruit of all the work you've done for the previous amount of time. So it's interesting when you look at the whole process. 888-283-7272. Let's go now to Betsy. Hi, Betsy.
So nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk with you, darling.
You sent me your book because I couldn't afford to buy it, and I thank you for that again.
You're welcome.
And I've called you a couple of times, and you've given me good advice. And I get good stuff from, you're just repeating the same things, every night. It's just like you have to hear this stuff over and over and over again. Like what you said about caffeine, what it depletes and stuff. But do you have a station in Dallas?
In Dallas, I'm not sure. We'll have to check. We are on in Dallas. We're on in Waco, and our producer will be able to give you the call letters. We're on 2 different stations out that way, so he'll be able to give you the call letters for that.
I was going to ask you, so
sure.
I really appreciated Brad's call and the caller after him that called him, because it's programs like yours, especially because you work with instead of against the medical community, which I like
Absolutely.
About you.
We're all on the same team.
Well, my question is, I'm 61 years old. I'm postmenopausal, I would guess you'd say. And last time I called you, I told you, like Brad did, I was on antidepressants and, stuff to sleep and stuff like that, and you recommended exercise, and I mentioned that I had lost my libido, and you recommended primrose oil. And I bought some today, and it's in capsule form, and I'm wondering if it applies to the same rule as the capsule form for fish oil.
Are you taking any hormones at all? Do you take any hormones?
No, I'm trying
like estrogen,
not to.
progesterone?
I don't want to. I have an appointment with my doctor coming up, and I want to talk to her about that, but I also want to take my book, your book, with me. And, I've looked online against, the dangers of HRTs, and I don't want to do them. And so I bought this bottle. The manufacturer is called Now, and it's Super Primrose, which is 1,300 milligrams of evening primrose oil, and it's in a soft gel form. And so it's a stronger form. But I was wondering, I've heard a lot said about the fish oil that it's you don't want to take it in the capsule form because it tends to get rancid, and then you have trans fats. Is that also true for the primrose oil?
It is. Well, actually, no, it's not. For primrose oil and GLA, and which is gamma-linoleic acid, and other oils, even flaxseed oil, the gel caps tend to be okay. And with primrose oil especially, now it's not a bad brand. It's a cheaper brand, but the quality in some of their products are okay. And it's not fantastic, and it's not the best, but it'll do. But, yeah, I mean, primrose oil is really good for just overall they say it can balance hormones. I've seen research for and against that. It's a pretty strong statement. But what it is good for, it's good for just keeping overall fatty acids within the body, and it helps when you're taking fish oil, like an omega-3 fat. They work hand in hand. Now, for estrogen, that sort of thing, black cohosh has been shown to have really good research behind it. And when you combine that with, say, a primrose oil, then it can produce some good benefits as far as keeping estrogens somewhat balanced in the body. Again, the research is pretty bleak on that, but it is known to be good for overall general health. So, I mean, it's not like take the bottle and throw it away or anything like that. So, I mean, it's not a bad choice. And a lot of women take primrose oil from just what I've seen and from a lot of things that I've read, and they do well. So it's if you're asking my thoughts on it, is it good or bad? It's from what I've seen, it should be okay. But when you go see your doctor, I think it's a good time to sit down and say, okay, look, let's hammer it out. Let's get some blood work done. I want to see all my hormones, and even if they say, well, it may cost a little bit out of pocket, we'll do that because it's worth it. See, sometimes they can't get the hormones covered for whatever reason. So you want to be, just push a little bit because they will check all your blood work for you. You just got to figure out a way to do it. And you may have to pay a little extra, but it's worth it because you'll get all the numbers. So, I mean, check your growth hormone levels, HGH, FSH, LH, all three estrogens, progesterone. I'm sure she'll check all your thyroid. If she checks your thyroid, which she should, have her check the TPO antibody, which is thyroid peroxidase, and it will show if there's any potential autoimmune process going on in the body, and that will be a huge indicator and a huge factor for kind of a course of action that she would probably take, and that will give some good, valid information about what's going on. But, yeah, have her check all of that, and I think you'll be in a good position. And of course, there'll be certain supplements you can take, and obviously she'll be able to guide you in some of that. And if she doesn't, there's some really good research out there. We'll do everything we can to help you as well. So stay in touch. Thanks so much, and I hope the book has been a blessing to you. We'll be right back with more Healthy Talk Radio.
Want to turn back the clock 15 years and have more energy? This is Dr. Asa telling you to just breathe with LiveO2. LiveO2 delivers the right amount of oxygen we need for optimal health. Go to liveO2.com. That's liveO2.com.
To find out more, connect with On Call Radio online at mknetwork.com.
Lines are open, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. You're listening to the best in Healthy Talk Radio, the show where your health is your greatest wealth. What are you struggling with? We want to talk about it. So you want to talk about your health challenges, you call right now, 888-283-7272. Let's go now to Sue. Hi, Sue. Welcome to the show, darling.
Thanks for taking my call, and thank you for allowing God to use you to help us. I have a question about my sister. She's 55 years old, and she started 6 weeks ago with what they thought was a stomach virus, and she was nauseated and had diarrhea for about 2 weeks. She kept getting worse, and they diagnosed her about 3 weeks ago with C. diff, I think they call it, and they treated her for only 7 days, and she kept telling them she was getting worse. But anyway, she's just been in the hospital, and she came out yesterday. Her white count dropped to 1.3, they found out not only did she have that, she has salmonella also. And she's still having diarrhea. Her white count is only up to 2 now, and she's having a lot of stomach discomfort. They sent her home on Cipro, oral Cipro. I'm really, really concerned because it doesn't seem like she's gaining much grounds, and I was wondering what's your idea on this, or what can we do to help her?
Well, I mean, so they sent her home with Cipro?
Yes, she's on Cipro now. It's antibiotic she's on because they said that one would help wipe out the salmonella.
Yeah, that's typically what it will do. But what about, are they saying that they feel like they've got the C. diff?
Well, the last 2 cultures didn't show up C. diff this time, but he said that sometimes antibiotics can mask that and cover it up. But she does still have green watery stools is what she has.
Okay. I mean, if they have her on the Cipro, I mean that's going to cover for salmonella for sure. So I mean, they've got everything. They're doing everything they can. That's why they're not keeping her there, because if she's somewhat stable, and then all they've got to do is finish killing off the bacteria, and there's no reason for her to sit around. She might as well go home. So you're wondering, is there anything else you can do on top of that?
Yes, like I know she's going to need like probiotics, and I didn't know how soon we could start those because I'm sure after 6 weeks of this, she's totally wiped out.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. She can, I mean, technically, when you're taking antibiotics, you can take probiotics as well. That's kind of a standard just because it won't really interfere. It'll just keep replenishing.
Okay.
You know, as far as the Cipro or any antibiotic, it's going to wipe out everything and potentially neutralize the gut. And probiotics, obviously, are just going to keep good bacteria in there. It can only help her digestion and that sort of thing. And it's smart to use probiotics when you're coming off of a round of antibiotics. But, you know, obviously, I would get with her family doc and discuss some of that. But, I mean, as far as what she's doing right now, that what they have her on sounds, you know, like the standard of care. So, I mean, I wouldn't really push. I mean, diet and everything else, building the immune system up, that's, you know, pushing, you know, drinking a lot of water, all the basic things. I mean, I would watch her diet. If you're asking my thoughts on it, if it was me, that's what I would do. Is I'd watch what she's eating, making sure she's eating non-inflammatory foods. You know, the whole thing when you're dealing with a bacterial infection of any kind, to just eat whatever and don't worry about it, I'm not a big fan of that. I think you have to be really careful with the things you eat, obviously bland foods, but even so much getting salt in. I mean, so when I say salt, does she have high blood pressure?
No.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like the broths, like chicken broth and beef broth and that sort of thing, when you're going through recovering, those are really good for just sipping on those throughout the day, along with drinking plenty of water. It helps the electrolytes in the body, and that can help build the body up. So those are some things to consider. And you might want to do some research on that. But, I mean, with C. diff, you know, it's about killing the bacteria. But at the same time, you want to keep the body restored as much as possible and eat healthy foods and, you know, just common sense things. There's no silver bullet. I guess if you're asking me for a silver bullet, there's really not one for this. They've given her the silver bullet. They pulled out the big guns to wipe this out.
To kind of gain some grounds on this, how long is it going to take to kind of get over this?
When did they give her the Cipro?
She started Cipro, let's see, today is Tuesday, Saturday, because they had her on vancomycin IV, and they had her on Flagyl for a week.
Yeah. Typically, it just depends. I mean, how many those antibiotics? Typically 10 to 14 days. So I mean, she's looking at probably a couple of weeks to be completely recovered. That's what's typical. And, you know, obviously, you know, as far as that goes, depending on how strong her immune system is and what kind of lifestyle habits she does for the next couple of weeks, that'll play a big role too. So just creating a good, healthy environment for her body to thrive in that would really be my thoughts on it. So, I mean, I think that she's had some of the best care she can get. Because what they've done is, I mean, again, these are just my thoughts, but it sounds like everything's standard of care right down the line, which they're going to follow everything that's evidence-based anyway. So I would just encourage her, be her cheerleader, and just, you know, make sure she's not eating much fast food, just basics, and do everything she can to keep her body strengthened in the middle of it all. But I'm glad you called for her. I mean, just so you know, there are some natural things that can help. I mean, but at this point, with all the antibiotics she's had, it's not going to do it. It wouldn't even be worth looking into, I don't think. Like ionic silver and some of the other, there's some other herbal formulas and all, but it's not even worth talking about, because what she's doing right now, it's the big guns. So she's got everything they've put in her to make it happen. So it's just about letting all of that medicine do its thing, and then her making the right choices every single day to make herself healthy and make better choices and all that sort of thing. So keep me posted, and I'm glad you called for her. I know she would appreciate that as well, and let her know we're thinking about her. All right, Lisa in Bloomingdale, Illinois. She writes, my doctor, this is an email, has diagnosed me with low thyroid function and wants me to put me on Synthroid. That's hypo. Hypo means low thyroidism. What do you think? What do I think? I'm sure your doctor is not an idiot, and they definitely want to do the right thing. That's standard of care, by the way. Remember, that's what you're dealing with. So there are some other options you can look at for low thyroid function with iodine, organic iodine, and other nutritional type of things. There's a book written by Broda Barnes about thyroid function and iodine. You can check that out on Amazon. But it's a really, really good read, and it'll give you a lot of details about what you can do and what alternatives there are when you're dealing with low thyroid function.
Want to turn back the clock 15 years and have more energy? This is Dr. Asa telling you to just breathe with LiveO2. LiveO2 delivers the right amount of oxygen we need for optimal health. Go to liveO2.com. That's liveO2.com.
To find out more, visit the show online, InShapeNetwork.com.
Lines are open, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. If you haven't signed up for Facebook and Twitter to jump into the world with us, you need to. Also, our weekly email newsletter will be for you there as well. It's absolutely free. We protect all your information, of course. New expert panel says that cell phones might cause brain cancer. This is groundbreaking, isn't it? We always wonder about it. Let's hear what they have to say about it. Well, this expert panel that evaluated cancer risks today said that cell phones might possibly cause brain cancer. And the announcement comes from the International Agency for Research on Cancer, or IARC. Like the World Health Organization, the American Cancer Society relies on this organization for the evaluation of cancer risk. After reviewing all the evidence available, the IARC working group classified radio frequency electromagnetic fields as possibly carcinogenic to humans. The panel chairman, Jonathan Semet, MD, who's chair of the preventative medicine at the USC Keck School of Medicine, said in a news teleconference, we reached this conclusion based on a review of human evidence showing increased risk of glioma, which is a malignant type of brain cancer in association with wireless phone use. In finding cell phones to be possibly carcinogenic, the IARC means that heavy cell phone use might or might not cause a specific form of brain cancer called a glioma. This finding means that research is urgently needed to find out whether cell phones actually cause cancer and how they might do it. The IARC estimates that some 5 billion people worldwide have mobile phones, and a lifetime exposure to the magnetic fields created by phones, particularly when they're held tightly against the head, rapidly is increasing. Children are at particular risk, not only because their skulls are thinner, but because their lifetime exposure to cell phones will be greater than the exposure of current adults. So it's interesting to think about what's going on with that. And it's true. I mean, there's no free lunch. There's no way you can have that much magnetic radioactivity going into a cell phone next to your head all day long like we use them, and it not cause some potential damage. There are, and I don't have the name of it because I keep one in my cell phone. Yes, I do. It's called the Shield, and I believe you can go online and get that, but it's called the Shield. I don't know if it's theshield.com or whatever it is, but it's a pretty good device. The research on it is pretty good. It's very thin. It goes behind your battery in your cell phone, and it's a great way to protect against the electromagnetic radiation that comes off of the cell phone itself when it's in use. And it also, remember, there's a slight amount because it's always feeding from a signal to one of the towers, there's always a slight amount of the magnetic radiation that you're getting from the phone, just carrying it in your pocket or on your side or wherever you carry the phone. So you want to block against that as well. So these little shields that they make is a little magnet device that kind of deflects some of the radioactivity, or the electromagnetic radiation that comes off of that. So it's something to think about. I think they cost like $20 or something like that, $15, $20. They're not much, but they're worth it, and I think they do play a role. I mean, I'm a big magnet fan, so even keeping a magnet on you protects against electromagnetic radiation throughout the day from computers and power lines and everything else, and people think it's going over the top. It's not really when you think about it, because we're surrounded by it. Just put a magnet on you one day. Go get one of those magnets, they get their little bracelets out and all of that. Put one of those on and notice if your energy level doesn't increase by about 40 or 50% in a day's time. You'll be amazed at how that'll make a difference because of everything you're bombarded with every single day. It's pretty interesting how that works. 888-283-7272. Let's go to Paige. Hi, Paige.
Hi, how are you?
Living well, darling.
I was wondering, I have a friend, he's 40 years old, and his right leg between his foot and his calf area, he has brown spots, like varicose veins, but they're brown.
Okay.
And I was wondering, what do you think is going on, or...
So he has brown spots on his legs that look like varicose veins, but they're not. And they're down on the lower part of his leg, is that right?
Yes, near his foot area towards the...
I think I'm losing you.
Yeah.
Did we lose Paige?
Oh, yes.
Paige, are you there?
Yes.
So the brown spots, they're on his lower leg. If you have your radio turned up, you might want to turn it down because it creates some feedback between you and the talking.
Hold on a minute, please.
Just turn it off if you could. It'll help the reception.
Yes, I shut it off. I just shut it off.
Great. So,
okay.
So he has these brown spots that are almost like varicose veins, and they are on the lower part of his leg. And did they just come up out of nowhere, or has he had them for a while?
No, they recently, maybe within a month and a half, he's had this.
Okay, and does he have any pre-diagnosed conditions? Like, is he taking medicine for any condition?
No medicine at all. He takes herbal supplement. I forget the name of it, for the prostate or whatever that is. I forgot the name of it.
Sure. Here's the deal. Usually, if he's just got brown spots that are on his leg, he needs to go to a doctor and have that checked out, because without seeing it, without seeing blood work, without knowing his total history and all, it could be a host of different things. It could be liver spots. It could be an issue. Sometimes some brown splotching can come up on the lower part of the leg that is in conjunction with diabetes, or even someone that's been in a pre-diabetes stage for some period of time. It could be nothing. It could be something. It could be just random. It could just be pigment changes in his leg. Again, a dermatologist or even a family physician, someone that can really look at that and, through years of experience of seeing different skin conditions, that's going to be his best bet. To try to just come up with some random idea, I don't think is a wise thing to do. That's just my thought. But, again, it could be something simple and it could be something not so simple. So getting a full evaluation, that's great. He takes supplements and all, but, getting a full evaluation, getting blood work done, and really seeing what's going on with his body in that area would be a smart move. So I'd encourage you to have him go see his doctor, and they can run some tests and figure out exactly what's going on. Okay? Thanks so much for the call. 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. Check us out. Linda in Jonesboro, Arkansas writes, she says, what do you recommend for psoriasis? Well, it just depends. Psoriasis being a skin condition, remember, skin conditions are what? They're an inside-out thing, not an outside-in thing. So you want to look at it from an inside-out condition, not outside-in, although psoriasis can drive you crazy. It can itch, and the skin just gets splotchy and scaly, and it can be just a big nightmare. Well, a couple of things that we know about skin conditions: psoriasis, dermatitis, eczema, they all kind of fall in the same category. one thing we know about them is that there's usually an omega-3 fatty acid deficiency. The person is usually deficient in that in some capacity. So cod liver oil or a good omega-3 fish oil, always a good thought when you're dealing with a skin condition. Zinc is another one. We lose zinc just through stress, and especially men lose it because of so much that's going on just in stress in life. And we burn up a lot of zinc for testosterone. So that's one of the reasons that happens. And then also with any kind of skin condition, you want to think about certain food allergies, such as wheat products, so bread, pasta, cereal, crackers, any flour-based food, processed food, you might want to consider eliminating for a while, and then also cow's milk dairy. So cow's milk dairy is another one. So casein protein, which is the protein in the homogenized and pasteurized milk products, is another one that's just a big mess. So you want to be careful with that. And a raw milk's a little bit different. The body can handle that, and that's coming on strong. The whole raw milk industry, and they're working on some laws and some legislation right now, which might really be good for people that have and sell raw milk to be able to sell it commercially. Because right now you can only do it state to state, and they have to be sold as pet food in a lot of areas, or people buy cows and co-op cows, and there's some different ways around it. But let's go now to Tony. Hi, Tony.
Hey there, Dr. Asa. Thank you for staying on the air and being encouraged to give us your support. I'm going to move on down the leg.
Sure, that's what I'm all about.
I'm going to move on down the leg to the feet.
Okay, let's go down to the feet.
I've had a problem with bumps on my feet. They look like blisters. And in the past years ago, I would get heat bumps along the edges of my fingers. But these bumps are now on the inside edge of my feet. And it's even in the archway. And I just heard what you said about the psoriasis, but I don't know. My doctor prescribed a terbinafine. I think it's what it's called.
Okay.
And he said he thought it was just a typical like a infection or something I could have picked up at the gym, and I was treating it with the anti-fungal stuff. But my nutritionist recommended some andrographic complex and tea tree salve. But I'm still having it. Now I've changed from wearing dark-colored socks to white socks, and I try to air out my feet as much as possible outside of working, and I'm standing on them, but I still get these little blisters.
Yeah, the little blisters, a lot of times, the antifungal creams and whatnot are actually a pretty good way to go. Wormwood and black walnut are pretty good, too. If you've got a fungal infection, which it could be, or it could be bacterial, you'd want to handle that from the inside with some of the herbal components, and then from the outside as well. But I would, if you do that natural for about 10 days and it doesn't knock it out, you might want to look into some of the medical side of things, because there's some couple of medicines out there that can be very beneficial to knock that out in a couple of days.
Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to AsaRx.com and get your free book today.
Connect with On Call Radio and watch On Call TV at InShapeNetwork.com.
Lines are open, 888-283-7272. That's 888-283-7272. This is the show where your health really is your greatest wealth. 1 in 5 young adults right now may have hypertension. It's crazy if you think about it. Hypertension, high blood pressure, is much more common than expected in young adults. The researchers have found in a new study, the National Institutes of Health, or NIH, did a longitudinal study of adolescent health and the prevalence of hypertension 24 to age 32. And it was 19% in 2008, according to the study in the University of North Carolina, Gillings School of Global Public Health in Chapel Hill. This compares the rate of 4% among young adults participating in the National Health Nutrition and Examination Survey. But the self-reported rates of hypertension, however, were similar in the two studies, 11% in the AdHealth and 9% in the other study. Now, the AdHealth principal investigator in this, which was Kathleen Harris, a Ph.D. at the University of North Carolina, she said that at the conference with reporters, it was not clear in the explanation of the discrepancy between the two studies, but we tend to think that young adults are rather healthy. But with a prevalence of 19% with high blood pressure is quite alarming. It's the most they've ever seen. And since they started this study in 1994 and 1995, they have found the rates have gone up considerably. So we're definitely in a phase right now, I think, that is just it's a time period where we have to, and we're seeing it more, but we have to, as a people, really come together and say, what is really going on? Because our genetics, if you think about it, if you have common sense, I mean, here's the deal. You look at it 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and we didn't have the amount of diabetes. We didn't have the amount of high blood pressure. We had it, but not at this level. And you start looking at some of these health challenges, you think, okay, I get that we evolve, and I get that we have genetics, and I get all that. But what has really changed? And if you look at our lifestyle, you look at the stress, you look at our foods, you look at our choices, more convenience, and our society has gone to I want it, and I want it now, and I want it as fast as possible. And what happens is we become more sedentary. We're working more, so a lot of people sit at their desk, so they're working longer hours, less activity, and it just breeds for disease. It really does. And there's not much that is going to change because our society and our country and our culture is only going to continue in that manner. And it's only going to continue going in that way. So we have to come up with something different. We have to come up with a different game plan to move forward. And we have to come up with a place where we rally together for our kids to teach them how to live a healthy lifestyle. We have to teach our young people so that 1 out of 3 right now of our young people have diabetes. Think about that. How about them apples? 1 out of 3 under the age of 11 have been diagnosed with type 2. Type 2 diabetes, really? And so we're not doing anything about it. I mean, we talk about, well, we'll change the school lunches, which is a great initiative. I think that a lot of folks are doing. And I think that, educating is great. But I'll tell you right now, in hospitals, and I can tell you firsthand from being there and working in them, that there's plenty of RDs in there, the registered dietitians, by the way, which are trained and do very well in nutrition. But it's not that they're not trained. It's that the people hardly get to them. Because what happens is you go to the doctor and you get your medicine, and the last thing you want to do is make another visit and go down the hall and meet with a dietitian. So that visit typically does not happen because they meet with the doctor, they get what they need, and they move on. The physician doesn't have time to spend an extra 30 minutes with somebody to talk about nutrition. It's just the system's not set up that way. And that's why we have RDs. And so even a good nutritionist, a lot of times people won't make the time until obviously it gets to the point of not of no return, because sometimes it's the case, but not always. But I think that we're in a place right now where we have to educate ourselves. And that's why education is so important for our health and for our lifestyle and for what we're doing every single day. And it's important that we make better choices, and it's important that we all come together in that to make a difference, to teach each other, to make better choices ourselves, and then to teach our young people. If we do that, I think we can have a healthier generation. And I believe that one day soon that we will see that. We will have a healthier generation than we've ever seen before. And so that is our goal, and that's my goal, to educate and empower and equip you to learn and to take this information and to do something with it, to empower your life to go to the next level. And you can. You don't have to be stuck. That's the whole thing. You don't have to be stuck where you are. And if you've taken 4 different medications and have 4 different diagnoses that your physicians have given you because your body's broken down to a certain point, it's not the end. It's the beginning. If you want to make the decision, remember, radical changes equal radical results. If you're willing to make changes in your life that you can live well, that you can be better, that you can do better, then it's possible. But you have to make those decisions. No one else can make it for you. Only you can make those decisions to live a healthy life. And if you do, you'll be amazed at what can happen. because what can happen is absolutely powerful. Sally in San Diego, California, she writes, I wake up in the middle of the night with a lot of leg cramping. And my leg jerks. What could that be? It sounds like restless leg syndrome, Sally. So a couple things you can do. I'm always a big fan of going to see your doctor. You know, I sound like a broken record when I say that, but it's true because I think it's important. First, so they can manage other things that have been going on in your life and put all the pieces of the puzzle together, because I don't know all that. I haven't seen but an email. But I can tell you that with that sort of thing, typically it is a mineral deficiency that causes that, magnesium being the top mineral, but a good multi-mineral is something that you might want to do some research on and how that affects the different types of issues when you're dealing with things like restless legs. So, I mean, it's always a mineral deficiency that is a key, but again, medicine might need to be involved in something like that. Hope that helps. That's another hour in the charts. I'd like to thank our producer, Jay Patrick, John Garrison, Leslie Pardue, and the rest of the team. I'm Asa Andrew, your health and lifestyle coach. Go tell one person something you learned on this show, and together we can change the health of our friends, our families, and our communities. You're listening to the best in healthy talk radio, where we're diagnosing hope one person at a time.
Did you know you could listen to the AsaRx audio experience on Spotify and Pandora? For all the ways to watch and listen, check out our show page at asarx.com/experience.
Hi, it's Asa. I'm giving you a copy of my best-selling book for free to help you in your health journey today. I'll pay for the book. All you do is just cover the small shipping and handling costs. Go to asarx.com and get your free book today.
This episode is over, but check episode notes for links to products and services you've heard about on this episode. Thanks for listening and subscribing. Please share the AsaRx audio experience with others and stay in touch by giving us your comment or review.